For this second Sunday of Advent, we're having the first of what I hope is a long series of hearing from special friends sharing their thoughts on the Bible passage for the week. This week, John the Baptist invites his audience to change their ways and make hard decisions. And here to talk to us about making changes and hard choices is Mr. Horse in a segment that I'm calling Straight from the Horse's Mouth.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Horse and I'm here to share my thoughts on the trolley problem and what they might have to do with change. So if you don't know, the trolley problem is a story that sometimes professors tell students when they go to college about how to make a tough decision. And the story goes like this. There's a trolley car going down the tracks, and down one track over here is stuck one person, and then stuck over here is 5 people. I don't even want to show you pictures of it because it's terrible to think about, let alone see. But what happens is the professor says, okay, now you're stuck here at this lever, and if you move the lever one way, one person's going to get run over by a train car, and if you move the lever the other way, 5 people are going to be hit by the train car. What are you going to do? Well, obviously, anybody's going to look at this and say, you got to step on the brakes. If you were going to say you got to step on the brakes, you're on the right track. That's a joke. But in reality, then the professor says, no, there's no brakes. You can't step on the brakes. And I said, well, they shouldn't have made that trolley car going if there's not even any brakes. And I said, well, why don't we yell for help? Anybody can look at this situation and see these folks need help. And the professor says, no, nobody's going to help over here. Nobody can come help you. And I said, well, how are people getting tied to the train tracks in the first place? Why don't we have people around monitoring the situation? And the professor says, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't happen here either. And I would have to just then interrupt and say, Professor, why are you so invested in a universe where the train can't be stopped and people are being tied to train tracks? That sounds like the thing that has to change here. And I don't think it's appropriate to be telling children this story if there is no way to handle it the way we would in the real world. You're describing an emergency, and we don't always know what we would do in an emergency. But in reality, we could look at this situation and see, I don't know what I would do, but I sure want to help. But if we're going to stop and change something, what we should stop and change, well, first of all, in this place, we could maybe inspect the brakes. That's what I would do. We could maybe put up some warning signs so people are on the train tracks. But in reality, what I think has to change is maybe not using our brains to think about how it's okay to hurt people and maybe using our brains to see how we might help. I am just a horse, but I think that's the right answer. Thank you for your time. And in the future, I understand the sentiment, but I don't appreciate the origins of the phrase that you are using to title this segment, and you should change it. Thank you for letting me share.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Repentance or change involves more than just making hard choices. It involves working together to make the world better. Thanks, Mr. Horse. And if you'd like to join us and have a video like Mr. Horse did, and we can call it whatever you'd like, why don't you send us an email at the church and we'll get together, make a video, and you can share your thoughts with your church friends. See you next time.